Alright, greetings gods and goddesses in training. Welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makara, all relations. Today I'm going to be traveling to Bangalore for a day, and then I'm going to Bailakuppe, which is a Tibetan region in South India. And right now I'm tuning into this understanding. How does one protect oneself with a mindset? Or how does the savage shaman think in terms of hexes, curses, and spells? So I'm going to give you a daily armoring method that you can use to help you with this. Now, first and foremost, you want to understand that you want to release certain toxins in the body, okay? There are certain areas and organs, especially when we look at the traditional Chinese medicine and the Indian system of the Marma points. If you understand that there's certain meridians in your body. Now, the greatest meridian is actually at the tip of your tongue. This is why mantras are powerful. This is why mewing is powerful. This is why putting the tongue and pressing at the roof of the mouth can actually help you activate the pineal. So let me give you a bit of a context before we dive in. So a curse is simply a will that is bent towards harm. A spell is a formed intention that's a shaped thought placed upon an entity, a person, right? A hex is the geometry of containment, the angle, the shape, the measure that channels energy into a pattern and holds it there. So to cast a spell, you need language, correct? Language builds a map that the mind will follow. So without words, the hex may still be drawn, but to enslave a people, you teach them a language to keep them small. And this is exactly why we've grown up with words, language, vocabulary that keeps us stuck, that keeps us in the same loops, in the same positions in life. Know how sound and shape are sisters. When tongue reaches the roof of your mouth, it's something called the microcosmic orbit. You can look that up. And also, friction births a charge once you do it. That charge travels, it visits the pineal. It stirs the inner tracts, right? And it opens up your chambers meant for perception. So when we're working with the third dimension, right, we're using all our five senses. We're in the fourth dimension, you have a gain over all of those perceptions. Therefore, you can access extrasensory perceptions, or ESP. Some tongues press the ridge and release the inner valve. Others restrain the tongue, keeping you in fear states of mind. The alphabet's alpha beta keeps us in alpha waves and beta waves. We have to work extra hard to access delta or theta, right, which are more relaxed, which is more so a slower waveform, right? Which we access through daydreaming or sleep. So words make belief, belief begets form. If you teach a child forever to say that they are ugly, you have actually taught them a spell about their own reflection. However, in the same moment, a person could raise their hand up and realize that they're not the body. They're the one controlling the body. I can raise my hand up like this, right? I am the creator. So don't treat yourself like the created. Treat yourself as the actual source, right? If you were in a video game, you would understand that there's a character here. So if you think in terms of your own life right now, what if you forgot, right? Had amnesia that you chose this version of you right now. Most live as if they were the drawing, forgetting that they're the hand that drew that drawing. This is forgetting the hex. This is why men behave like monsters for money, why they trade stardust for paper, why they bow to constructs and ignore the miracle inside our skin. Because a spell taught them, right, where to place their value. You live inside many boxes: architecture, language, doctrines. Religion, when it becomes a very, very rigid form of it, becomes a hex. So are you buried beneath doctrine, or are you rising with your soul? And also understand the word grimoire actually comes from the word grammar, okay? So again, all this stuff is already out there. We as shamans just need to know how to use our words, right? Which is actually the word swords, or wards, like to ward someone, right? It's a magic spell. So words are magic spells. So abracadabra, you create as you speak. Anything that you speak into this physical world will start to formulate, okay? So you've heard the saying, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. The posture of dominion, tongue to the roof of the mouth, knees slightly bent. Inhale for 4, exhale for 8. Right hand up. Left hand on heart. Okay? Another one is, I like to hum Om, A-U-M. And as I do that, I imagine the violet flame filling my entire body, okay? Certain essential oils I like to rub on my body and wrists. Using salt is also a good idea. And then I want you to actually go into a language audit. So what are the words that are actually keeping you stuck? What are the phrases and sentences, right? They call it a life sentence when you go to jail, right? So you've actually been sentenced, right, to a prison. If you do a certain vow or a banishing ritual, right? We have a declaration of sovereignty, for instance, and we have something called a bolt cutter prayer. These are things that you can actually use in order for you to flush out that gunk that keeps building up. For that, you would have to be an adept or my student. So go to primalsutramysteryschool.com if you're interested. You can also hold the visualization of the Merkaba, and if you look that up, you can find a proper visualization of that. But the easiest and most effective practice that I've noticed is tapping, okay? Not EFT tapping, but just tapping with sounds, okay? This is very different, and this is very powerful to do daily, guys, okay? If you can go into this practice, you will absolutely transform yourself, because it will flush out all of the toxic stuff in your body, the waste in your body, right? Our kidney builds this up, our liver builds this up, our, all of the stress, the emotions, the pressure that are in these organs are gonna start flushing out. It's incredible, okay, if you do this in a proper way. So the first one is like this, ha. Okay, you can tap the chest like a monkey. Go like this, go like this. You can also do some thymus thumps. You say ha, 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 ha. Why are we doing ha? Ha is opening up the heart chakra, hum, right? So it's going to open this whole area up for you, because guess what? Your armpits, if you keep your armpits locked like this, it's gonna block the energy flow. But if you just lift it up very slightly like this and keep it, you'll notice that the energy is kind of raising up here, right? So doing these little micro adjustments will teach you about your mind, body, spirit complex. It will teach you exactly where the body has its limit, and then you'll be able to readjust accordingly. The next one is who, and you do this based on your rib cage. So I want you to let me just show you like this. So right where your rib cage is, and you say hoo, 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 ha, 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 hoo, 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 ha, 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 right? And then here you can also do he, okay? He. So right here is the liver and gallbladder. Right here your lungs, right here your liver and gallbladder, right? So if you just tap right along the chest and you go right to the ribs, you should pretty much hit all points. Of course, you have your finger points and so forth too, but you can just generally do a practice like this daily, where you use sounds to activate these centers and flush out all of the gunk that's sitting there. But you will notice that a lot of masters of these crafts, they will take all of their excess energy, especially let's say if they're retaining their energy, they bring that energy up to their heart space, because it's much more easier to manage from this space because you're in that love frequency. So as you're moving the stuck emotion around, you can even go A-E-I-O-U, which actually brings you through all of the chakra points, right? So right? So as you do that, it'll bring you through all of that. And so the sonic geometry, right, creates the sacred geometry. So it's from these sounds that you can actually build up not just your physical body, but your spiritual body, your energetic body, okay, your emotional body, your mental body. Also choose some sentences, mantras, affirmations, askfirmations for you that really help you out, right? That start to remind you of the kind of reality that you actually deserve, want, and it's a deep desire, right, for you. Only what serves the highest good may reach me. I am the witness, and the witness is free. Light before me, light behind me, light within me. I stand in the radiant heart. Okay, statements like this, which automatically, they will raise your vibration if you speak them like a decree, an incantation, a vow, right? You say it with conviction. Now, you'll notice you're doing this right when old triggers are coming up, but then they're dissolving fast. Less interference, more clean openings and resonance in your body. And also, it could be that your chest feels warm during prayer or meditation. It could be that your sleep improves. It could be that your breath deepens and you're not always in the shallow breathing throughout the days. You'll start noticing little signs of improvement as you start doing these practices, okay? So again, general tapping practice with sounds daily. And you can use a combination approach. Obviously, we're like mystic mad scientists on this channel, so we'll use a combination of subliminals, binaural entrainment, Rykov, Quantum K, the list goes on, okay? We have a lot of tech, so use the tech overlapping each other, okay? This is really what's gonna help you understand this. And remember, if you want to upgrade your life, you have to upgrade your language, okay? So we've heard the word studying growing up so much. I don't know about you, but I've heard it my entire life, right? Just keep studying, keep studying. And the word studying actually has the word dying in it. So it's no wonder that students all around the world, right, are actually unconsciously using this word all the time. And they're facing this kind of like mini death. Whereas if I called it something like training, right, or improvement, or learning, or revision, or any other word, right, it would actually change my experience with that, right? So understand the labels and then relabel them. Okay, acknowledge them. Okay, that's how you say it. And then reframe. I'm not saying go towards that annoying level of like grand rising and instead of good morning. You've heard this in spiritual communities, right? The word morning is associated with morning and so forth. I don't take it to that extreme, but I do notice when there's certain phrases or trigger words that take me out of the zone. And what I want to be doing is now auto-correcting back to my baseline. So your baseline is like the energy that you have when you're at your most neutral, right? There's no extra reactionary energy, your pain body. There's not extra stuff there, right? It's just, it is what it is, right? And that energy you have to cultivate over time. So through meditating, you're actually making yourself way more present to be able to notice that this curse is trying to change my belief system to get me trapped, right? So people are painting a story and getting you to walk through these hoops, and that's how they're able to curse you. That's how they're able to hex you. You cannot hex someone without their consent, right? That you need an energetic consent to be able to do that. That's why people, use a strand of someone's hair or a picture, some linkage, right, to be able to do that against you. So therefore, have a strong team of spirit guides. This is going to help you way more, okay? Start that journey and process as well. Build up your intuition and your psychic gifts. Notice that you have certain things that ring very, very true for you and that are only true for you, and not, you can't really generalize that with other people because your life is so unique and quite subjective and special in its own way, right? So again, don't personalize things. Understand that there is a journey of this impersonal evolution, which is, you see, archetypes are impersonal. A king, I could be a king, my friend could be a king. We could both tap into that same archetype. You see the power of that? It's almost like a stock character. So if you can pull a little bit of that king energy and just start emanating it, you're gonna start doing king shit, right? And that's gonna stack into other things that kings would do, right? And building a sovereignty within and so forth. So just a mindset switch for you guys to use a type of language, a flocabulary. I've changed even the word vocab to flocab, right? Because it matches my worldview and how I want my life to be, you see. So understand when there's certain words that are triggering to you, you can always reframe them into something that will help you to thrive in this life. And that's like, you know, anti-hex, anti-curse, right? If something is trying to box you in, right, then guess what? You think outside the box, right? But if you're like, oh my goodness, they cursed me, and you go into that fear and you really believe in it and you start feeding that thought, that's when they have power over you. But if you consider it like, this is not in my belief system, then it's a protectiveness, yeah. So I hope this helps you out today. Have an incredible rest of your day. May the flow be with you. Stay legendary, bro.